Okay, so remember how I said with inertia, it's like a body at rest tends to stay at rest. But then once you start getting moving, a body in motion wants to stay in motion. Remember I said that? Let's pretend that's all wrong for a moment and realize that every once in a while you're going to trip up and you're going to just want to stop. You're going to want to be like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I can't do this anymore, or this is harder than I thought. It happens, and at this point you need to have a strategy in place to realize this is when I need to persevere. This is when I need to be persistent and keep going even though I really just don't want to do this anymore. This could show up in a few ways. It could be where things are just getting crazy. You're very busy. Maybe a project that you're working on went off the rails and now it's eating into your time when you would normally make video, but you have to do this other stuff. Maybe personal life is getting in the way, or maybe you're just feeling like you're coming at it from more of a place like I need to affect an outcome. I need to make a video to get people to buy things rather than I would like to make videos to sort of build my expertise and attract an audience. And any one of those points, it's easy to start losing the momentum. It's easy to start to feel the wind get knocked out from under your sails. It's not a good feeling. Here are 3 things to draw strength from when that happens. Number 1 is that hopefully this business that you're in, this niche or topic that you've chosen or whatever it is that you're doing is something that you love and that you have a passion for. There's sustainable reserves there. There's something that can never be completely fully withdrawn where there's just nothing left. It can't ever really be depleted. You can feel depleted in the moment, but the desire to get back to this topic or the desire to keep moving in the direction that you're moving is strong, and it's always there. And as long as you've chosen a business or an industry or something that you have a passion for and a real love for, then you will have that, and you can fall back on that. It's sustainable even when you're down. That's why a lot of what I teach relies on you having chosen a business or an industry that you have a passion for, because if this is something that you just don't care about, you're not going to be able to keep it up. It's very difficult to continue talking about something day in and day out when you don't care about it. It gets boring, it gets tiresome, it gets all sorts of things that makes you want to go like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, I'm done. And number 2 is to have some systems in place so that when things do get tight or time sort of is not on your side, you have things set up in a way that it's not that hard to do this. When I do videos, I do them in a way that's repeatable. So once I figured out how I make a vlog, or once I figure out how I do a studio or a course type video, it's a repeatable process. Turn on the lights, I can turn on the camera and go. It doesn't take me an hour to set up every time. It may have taken me an hour to set it up the first time. For example, when I do my lives in the group, I have everything all set up all the time. I just leave everything set up in my office all the time so that when it's time to go live, I just turn on the lights, turn on the camera, and I'm live within a minute if I need to be. It's not that hard. It's a repeatable process that I can just do on a dime. It was difficult to get it set up the first time, but I don't have to set it up the first time every time, just once. Another system is to have like a way of doing work in batches. For example, if you're going to do a vlog where you're going to talk about a different topic in different videos, maybe just spend a day where you go to a couple of different places and film all the videos at once. Or sometimes I might have some scripts for my Fuel Blue TV series where I'll have 3 or 4 scripts just all written out, and then one day I'll be like, I feel like recording. So I turn them on and I record all 3 or 4 at the same time. One after another, obviously. Not all at the same time. That would be silly. And then I can sit down one time and I can just go through the editing process and they're all done. And now I've got 4 videos that are finished. And I post one week, and then the next week, life is crazy and I don't have time really to think about video and to make video. Well, guess what? I made 4 last week. So now they're batch produced. I don't have to worry about them for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And another system is to have an accountability system. Maybe you have an accountability partner or a coach. If it's just a matter of you sometimes give up and say, I don't feel like it, or I'd rather watch Netflix, or I'd rather just go out and hang out with my friends, maybe you need an accountability partner. For me, it's my wife. I have to do this stuff, otherwise she's going to ask me, did you do that stuff? And I'm going to say no, and she's going to be like, why are you up here? Go back and do your stuff. That's what I got to do. Maybe you need a coach, and maybe you need just somebody, a partner, an accountability partner, a colleague, somebody who's going to hold your feet to the flame and say, are you doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Do it. And then number 3 is change it up. Maybe sometimes you just need to change the way you're doing things. You might be bored. You might literally be bored. Sometimes if I'm doing things a certain way for a long time, I eventually just lose steam with doing it that way. It doesn't really excite me anymore to the point that I want to continue it. I change the way that I do things quite often because I like the newness of stuff. You're allowed to do this. You're allowed to change up the way you approach your business. You're allowed to change the way that you do your videos. You're allowed to change the schedule that you're working on. You're allowed to change the format and style of your videos. You're allowed to do whatever you want. This isn't like a TV show where now you have a fan base and advertisers and people expect every episode to follow this format. Who cares? If you started one way and you're teaching something a certain way and then all of a sudden you realize, gee, I'm kind of getting bored with this format or this style, or I don't like interviewing people. I'd rather just talk into the camera, or vice versa. It's boring just talking into the camera. I realized I'd rather be interviewing people, or I'd rather be out in the world talking to people, or just on cooler locations. Then do it. Change it up. There's no rule that says once you've started on a certain path, you're stuck there forever. Do it one way for a little while, do it another way for a little while, and then do it a third way for a little while. Maybe you'll realize there was one way that you liked better than the others, that worked for you the most, and go back to that. Or maybe you just need to change it up all the time. There are no rules. The only rule is that you're making something that is coming from your own personal self, where it's your passion and you are bringing the value to the table, and that your audience cares about it. Because if one of those pieces is missing, then there's nothing. You can't bring a topic to the table that your audience cares about, but you have no passion for, because then they'll be like, why are you talking to me about this? You obviously don't care. They'll see right through it. And if you're talking about something you're passionate about, but they don't care about it, well, we talked about that in the last video, where you have to figure out the language. You have to figure out how to speak about it so that you're on the same page as them. It's important to persevere. It's very important that you are doing your business from a place of passion, something that you love to do, and that you have systems in place so that even if things do get rough, or even if you don't feel like it, you at least have something that's going to hold your feet to the fire, or maybe you've got the work done ahead of time, and that would be great. Or you just need to change it up. You're allowed to do that. Remember that there really are no rules to this. This is your business, it's your life, and you're allowed to do whatever you want. Have fun with it. It should be fun. Making videos is fun. I hope that this has helped in some way, that you now feel like you are armed to at least get started. If you're at that place of zero, having watched these videos should at least have gotten you pumped up enough to say, like, I am going to make a video, and then I'm going to make a second video. Just go and do it.